Hello, everybody. This is Robert Price, owner of Elite Minds here. It's good to see everybody. As I mentioned earlier, I will be going live at 5:30 on Thursdays Eastern Time, and today is no different. So I am riding in a car on the way home from a golf event. So I'm not driving, but for those that were worried. So I'll give us a few minutes, like one or two, as people want to hop in on Facebook group. They want to hop in there. I have some folks coming in live on Instagram. So we'll just kind of keep giving folks a bit of time uh, as they hop in. Awesome, awesome. We have some folks hopping in there. Great. All right. So today we are going to be talking about what do we do when our junior golfer has played a few bad tournaments? What do we do? How do we manage that? And so we're going to spend about 20 minutes talking about that. That without further ado, and for those who are have some folks here on YouTube as well. Good to see you there. Um, awesome. So glad to see folks coming into the room in different places. So awesome. So again, this is an opportunity just to kind of talk about. I say when things aren't going as well as we would like for them to go, when we're not actually maybe performing the way that we want to perform, but we're seeing that actually happening over the course of a couple of tournaments, maybe three or four tournament appearances or opportunities where we're not performing to the level of our ability. Uh, and so that I go around on people is really getting people to turn their um, potential into reality. And that, from the mental side of things, there's work we can do. Obviously, there's a lot of opportunities for us to just continue to improve on the mental side of our game because we will not always have our best stuff while we're out there playing for sure. And so, one of the things that we want to be able to rely on specifically is our mental game to making sure that is super sharp, that no challenge issues with regards to that. If then what we'll start to notice is that we'll start to be able to achieve the things that we need to achieve. Because you do that things aren't going to go amazing all the time. So we're going to talk a little bit about a little bit of energy in that. You're unable to hear or something goes on, please just shoot me a message and I'm tracking. Awesome. I believe we should be good for the 20 minutes that we have. Awesome. All right. So here we go. Let's kind of dig in a little bit. I want to make sure that folks valuing folks' time. Uh, and if by chance, when I go back to kind of take a look at this recording, things were a little scratchy, I'll probably end up redoing it just for those that were here, just to make sure that everybody has opportunity to hear a really good quality as well. So I will double check those things once the call is completed. So One of the things that I wanted to kind of chat about again is just what do we do when our junior golfer is had a few bad rounds of golf in a row, but more importantly in tournaments. We got a few bad rounds, whether that is in different places and spaces, but we really want to make sure, like in tournament golf, what is it that we will do when our golfer is struggling a little bit in those tournaments? And so the first things that I wanted to remind ourselves is that there are certain goals specific to our rounds that we are looking to accomplish. And so if we are actually tracking those goals, then those are the things that we begin to kind of start communicating and talking through with our golfer. We talked a little bit last week actually around this aspect is how frequently or how often do we change goals. And so I mentioned that sometimes it's round to round. And so again, with that in mind, we have to be able to look at what we're actually accomplishing in these rounds in these particular tournaments. Because if we're not really looking at the details, then what we will do is we will miss opportunities for growth, for improvement. And so that's the conversation. That's literally where we go when we start to look into this. So the first thing, when I'm working with a client specifically, and we have a few of these rounds or tournament rounds not being stellar, is we start really looking at diving into the goals that we have set for those events. So where you are able to kind of take a look back over that history of maybe 3 or 4 events and really looking at what were the goals that we had set up or in place for those events. And a lot of times we're going to be looking at some of the very similar things. We're looking at pars and birdies and maybe greens in regulation. We're looking at par five scoring average, maybe par three scoring average. We're looking at penalty shots, things of the sort. And so we're going to be able to take a little bit of data from those 3 or 4 tournaments, depending on how many rounds those may have been. And then that way we really have a really clear picture on areas of improvement that we need to have. We have a better, clear picture of things where maybe we misjudged our particular setting of our goal. Maybe we set a goal that is not actually yet attainable at the moment, and we need to go back, reassess, and then move forward with something new. And so we can do that. It's going to take time. Oftentimes, is what I share. But if the player that I'm working with is keeping track of the goals that we're setting forth, whether they're through their stats, whether it's obviously through conversations that we're having on a weekly basis, then what we start to do is we start to see patterns, but then we can also see patterns of where areas of improvement need to happen. And not every event is one and the same. And that's why I think taking 3 or 4 tournament rounds to collectively together um, will allow us to really get a good picture, a good gauge on the areas specifically that the athlete needs to improve on, that golfer really needs to work through. So that's the first step. First step is looking at the goals that were set, making sure that we're tracking those, making sure that if there's any issue with the goals that we have set for ourselves, that we adjust. And so if we can adjust those quickly, then we can start to see some better and more quicker improvements happening for our junior golfer at their then next event. And so that's what we're looking to accomplish. That's one of the things that when you hear this, when and you ask yourself these questions around like so how do I, what do I do when my kiddo is having these few bad tournaments in a row? The first step is let's reassess, take a look at the goals that we have, for the particular tournament, start to see if there's any patterns. If there's any patterns, then from there, what we will do is then readjust or make adjustments to those goals. So those are the first steps, is to make sure that we're really tracking, we're really looking at that, we're trying to make sure that we're able to assess the right type of patterns. Then the next, what do we do? And we have to start having, I call it just some real checks, emotional checks, with our junior golfer. We want to make sure that we are paying attention to the types of events maybe that they're playing in. Maybe we need to schedule an event that might bring some of the challenges down. It depends on where your golfer is and what level, and specifically what time of the year it is for some of our golfers that are out there as well. So if we're really able to kind of take a good peek at how we're scheduling, did we schedule inappropriately? Maybe we went high level, high level, high level, and we didn't realize that we needed to have a moderate or a mid level event mixed in there somewhere where we can continue to build confidence. The harder events that we play, the more of those that we play in a row, we start to realize obviously that those golf courses are set up not for necessary super success, but they're very challenging, and so they're going to challenge your golf game. And so if we have multiples of those in a row, then sometimes we can lose a little bit of confidence in who and what we have been working on. So there's that aspect. So if you have a junior golfer, really we want to be able to look at the tournaments that they've been playing in for that stretch, and also looking at whether or not they are meeting or needing to reassess those goals that we've set. Because those two things right there will allow us to see a pattern that is important for us as a parent to then begin making some changes for them. And those are the things that people share with me when I'm working with their athlete. As a mental performance coach, one of the things that we need to know is what are the goals that we're trying to achieve, and is the way in which we're trying to achieve those goals working. So that way we can start to help build some confidence around the results that those outcome results that folks are looking to have. And so for me, again, it is about in the basics of this. It's about learning how to set goals that are going to work for that particular player that they're able to achieve, then being able to adjust those goals accordingly. And then we're going to be looking at patterns with regards to those goals and how we assess those goals. And so it's really good to kind of take about a 2 or 3 tournament look at that to really see what are the areas that we need to improve in, how do we go about doing that, and then now if you need instruction, if you need a lesson, all of those things are very helpful. So what I do know is that mental performance coaching is something that will help an athlete specifically around maintaining the confidence that is built. And so we have to build it. And that comes in 4 sources. And so we know that we need to make sure that, yes, we have some prior experiences. That's these events. Some of it is good and some of it is bad. But in those prior experiences, we're going to be able to learn and grow from those things. Then we know that it's going to come from some physical readiness. Are we prepared? Have we got the right nutrition? Do we feel good? Is our equipment in the right working order? And then that third area is looking around maybe at your peer group, those who are ranked in a similar area to you or at this playing those same events. How are they performing? Really just kind of taking a good deep dive, maybe at scorecards or taking a look and just seeing, am I keeping, let's use the golf word, par with our peers? I think that's important. That's another way in which we can build confidence. The fourth way is a way in which I spend much of my time working with my athletes is around self-talk, the things that we say to ourselves. So ultimately, we know that those 4 areas are ways in which we build confidence. And for me specifically, I'm looking at that fourth area to make sure that I'm maintaining the confidence that was built. And if we do that, then we are able to really start doing a good deep dive into these tournaments that they've been playing in not so well. We're going to be able to figure out, like, do we have the right kind of mental strategies? Do we have the right kind of on-course strategies as well? Course management strategies. Do we have? Are we choosing the right tournaments for our junior golfer to play in? So if we're able to look at all 3 of those aspects, then we can really start to see a seismic shift in those performances that will be coming forward for our junior golfer. So those are the things that I really wanted to hit home with tonight, is just making sure that you guys that are out there understanding, hey, look, we're trying to make sure that we're setting up the right tournaments. We're looking at goals that they have or haven't achieved over the course of at least 2 to 3 tournament events. If you're playing high school golf, that's usually one 18-hole round. If we're playing higher level tournament golf, then that's usually a 2-day or a 3-day event. So we really want to be able to kind of, I call it, we really want to be able to maybe look at least 4 to 6 rounds of golf to really start to see if there's some patterns in there. So if we can do that, then we can really start to make some inroads into what we're looking to accomplish. So uh, hopefully, if you have any questions out there, please feel free to ask them, whether they're in the group, on my Facebook page, or on Instagram, or even on YouTube. If there are any questions that you may have, please go ahead and put them in the places and spaces that are there for you. So I also wanted to share with you guys that are out there listening, specifically for those that are in the Facebook group. Next week, I've been working on a product for you guys that is going to allow you an opportunity, because if you do decide, but I'm sure uh, so if you're on Instagram, you're watching this, please you, uh, it's actually in my Instagram, um, in my heading in the Instagram, for you to be able to get to that as well. So for you that are on there, make sure that you can go on that Facebook group and hop in there, because next week I'm going to be launching a product for you specifically, um, that you want to pick up. And there's not going to be many of them. I haven't decided if it's going to be 15 or 20, but somewhere in that number, due to the limited amount of time that I'm going to be spending with you. So just know that that's going to be happening. I wanted to alert those that are paying attention and watching, and reward those that are in the group. Um, so just to kind of put a little thing out there for you guys. I also mentioned that I would share that detail, working on that product really intensely. So I really want to be able to make sure that I offer that to you all in the Facebook group, just to kind of give you a piece of information, something new that will allow you to see that. So again, for those LinkedIn folks, link for that Facebook group is in the bio. I also put that in there as a comment for those. I have, sure, I had a Facebook person mention exactly for next week. I will share that one more time. So what I'm doing next week inside of the Facebook group is I have been working on a product um, for your consumption there in the Facebook group. It will only be offered in the Facebook group, and we're really going to be looking at an opportunity within that. If you're looking for the name of that, you will see it. It is the Junior Golfers Focus Black Book. So that's what it will be. That's going to be the name of what it is that you're going to be looking for. So we're going to be talking through that, and how to focus specifically out on the golf course, and also in practice and training. So again, that will happen there. It's the Junior Golfers Focus Black Book. So working on that, and once I get that going, you're welcome. It will be in the group only for those that are in the Facebook group. So again, for my Instagram fam, YouTube fam, just to let you know that that is exactly where those things will live and breathe. A copy of these videos as well. Thank you again, Derek. Will show up there as well. So I really, if you have any questions out there, please feel free to shoot them to me. I'll be more than willing to answer those. Um, and I know it may have broke up a little bit here and there, but I wanted to stay true to my time with you all in this moment. So good to see everybody on Instagram and YouTube. this question is from YouTube. Um, this is a really good question. If you're on Instagram, I will read it to you. It says, how do you assess tournaments your kids should play in? That's a fantastic question. I'm going to throw it right here. So how do you assess tournaments your kids should play in? So this is a long answer, but I will share a little bit of this today. It is it's a long answer because it definitely is dependent of how your child is playing, age, appropriate events, yardages, things of the sort. But there should be three things that we should be thinking about. You should be thinking about playing in tournaments where when you show up, you should win. That's one level of tournament. The second level of tournament is when you show up, and if you win, it would not be a surprise to you or to those who were playing. The third type of event is if you show up and you won, the people in the field would be surprised that you won or you finished in a top five. That's the levels, if you will, of tournament play that we're talking about. And we're going to dig into that. I dig into that with my athletes specifically. We really start to figure out those things. And so, but it's ones that you go in, you're the favorite. You go in, you're amongst the peer group that you play with, and if you were to win, nobody would be surprised that you won. And thirdly, if you showed up into an event that you won or finished in the top five, depending on how big of the event or a national type event maybe, and you finish in the top five, people will be like, well, who is that person? So those are the three types of events and that's how I look at it and how I help players start to assess the types of tournaments that your kids should be playing in. So if there's three or four of those events in which they're all national level events, and that's the ones that we're talking about where they haven't played very well in, then maybe we need to just reassess, maybe come down a notch, see how we're performing in those events, and then we bump it back up. But making sure that we have the right game plan, of course, the time is really important. That's a good question. All right. All right. Well, it's coming up into our time of 30 minutes here. Um, and if you have any questions, if you need to hop into that Facebook group, again, the link for that is in my bio there, and same thing in YouTube as well to hop into the Facebook group. So you have an opportunity to just hop in and be a part of what we're doing here at Elite Minds. I'm really looking forward to working with you all and making sure that we have a great opportunity to just continue to work on the mental game because that's such an important facet to what we're trying to accomplish. So looking forward to you guys staying and hanging. I appreciate you hopping in, working through some of the maybe scratchiness throughout this call, but really looking forward to answering questions, whether we're in the group or on Instagram as well. Some folks have found me there as well. Looking forward to it. And again, have a wonderful day. Enjoy your weekend and shoot some low scores. Talk to you soon.